Hey guys, it is the first day of May, and what a great opportunity it is for us to set an intention to spend some time this month caring for ourselves and our mental health. You know, when we are faced with stress, our bodies send out the same type of inflammatory cells. It's a biological response that is exactly the same as when our bodies are exposed to a germ, or when we breathe in a pollutant in the air, or when we eat a food that our bodies can't tolerate. It's that same chemical reaction, whether it's a physical thing that we did or exposed to, or a mental a stress or trauma. So lowering inflammation, I focus on inflammation all the time, but knowing that, stress is the same inflammatory chemical reaction that those other germs or, exposures to pollutants or toxins, that same chemical reaction, knowing that that is taking place, that should give us the idea that we actually have to put intention into reducing our levels of stress. Now, that is a loaded request. I know that we are faced with all kinds of stress in our personal lives, in our, families, in our surroundings. There's constant stress going on, and we can't control the things that are going to happen in this world and around us and to us. What we can control is being aware that there is stress, being aware that every morning we wake up, things could happen that will not make us happy, that are going to go wrong, and then not, the way that we hope that they would. And so with that awareness, what can we do to add time to our day where we give ourselves this precious moment to say, for this moment, regardless of what is going on throughout the rest of the day and the world, I am going to, for these few minutes, spend time clearing my mind, breathing, and spending just some time lowering that level of anxiety and stress that is going on in our bodies. And so many people will use the word meditation to describe those few minutes of time that I'm asking you to put into your life. But some people will say, well, I can't meditate, and I just can't sit and not think for this amount of time. So what tools can we use then to give ourselves that time if we still if we're still struggling with the idea of meditation? So there's certain things that we can think about doing. Number one is there are, thankfully nowadays, these apps on the phone that are for this exact purpose. So one that I really like is the Calm app, CALM. You can download that on your phone. There's another one called Headspace. 10% Happier, I think, is another one. And there's a couple of more, but you can certainly Google, these meditation apps. And what I like about them is that, especially for Calm, that's the one that I use, they don't expect you to just sit for 10 minutes in silence and clear and not think. They do speak to you through the entire time that you're doing this meditation app. You can actually download the sessions so that you can turn your phone on to Wi-Fi or off Wi-Fi and onto airplane mode. So you can listen to them while you're in bed with your phone in airplane mode. They have sleep sessions to help you sleep better. They even have ones that are appropriate for while you're commuting to and from work. So if that is the only time that you have throughout the entire day that you're by yourself and you can actually, clear your mind, then use that time to listen to these sessions that are in the app that I'm recommending to you, to give yourself those moments to clear your head. Those are especially helpful. Another thing to think about is our bodies, basically have two options. One is to be in a state of fight or flight, which is helpful when we are in a state, in a sense, surrounding or in a circumstance of stress, and we really do need to react and think clearly and and focus, and so it's helpful for that. And then the other state that our bodies can be in is something called rest and digest. Now, rest and digest is exactly how it is described. It is there for us to fall asleep at night. It is there for us to digest and metabolize our food. So if we are in a state of fight or flight while we are eating our food or while we are trying to fall to sleep, then that's just not going to happen, because the fight or flight is the priority for our bodies during those times. So what do we need to do to help our bodies shift into rest and digest while we're eating our meals and also before we go to sleep? If we don't help our bodies shift into that, then the calories that we eat are going to be stored as fat. They are not going to be digested in a healthy way. So you might feel indigestion or bloating or some other GI discomfort, and you can start to gain weight. So we do need to focus on this and make this an important part of our day, is that before we're about to eat our meals, we may need to separate from our work. We probably are better off not doing it while we're driving or some other activities, and really focus on the meal. Sometimes you may need to do some breathing strategies before your meal and even before you go to sleep. So one strategy is called 4-7-8 breathing. And you all know those moments when you feel your heart racing and you just feel like your mind is, wandering on all your to-do list and all the things that could go wrong and things like that. So when we're in that state before we're about to eat, consider doing this breathing strategy. It's called 4-7-8 breathing strategy. And you can Google it to watch people do it, but it's really simple. What you do is you inhale for 4 seconds slowly, and then you hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then you breathe out for 8 seconds. So 4-7-8. I kind of think of it as like a little box, and you're doing this little box with your breathing, and do it slowly, and try as hard as you could to stop thinking about all the things that are running around in your mind, and that alone will calm your body and will slow down your heart rate and hopefully reduce some of that anxiety and stress and shift your body into this state of rest and digest. So that is helpful prior to each meal. Like I said, put down the work, move the computer away, put the phone away, and focus on your food and allowing your body to digest appropriately. Okay, so the next one. Okay, I have a list and I don't want to forget anything that I wrote down here. Okay, that was number 3, was not eating with distractions. Okay, so number 4 is, this is also really helpful, is our bodies have a circadian rhythm. So we want our bodies to wake up in the morning, have this boost of cortisol, which is the hormone that gives us energy. And then we want the cortisol to slowly decline throughout the day and then get us tired. And then once it's declined, we're tired and we're ready to go to bed at night. And so if you're noticing that when you're waking up in the morning, you're still kind of sluggish and you're just sort of not ready for the day, you're already sort of your body is already sort of set up for not being successful and not having the best mental health throughout that day. So something that you can actionably do is, the first thing in the morning, I know you might not feel like doing this right away, but after a day or two of doing it, it will start to feel so good to you. That is, step outside with your feet on the ground without any socks or shoes and feel yourselves on the ground and look up and see the sun and get some sunlight, and that will energize you. Just, you can even think about like, your intention for the day, what you hope that, the best outcome for that day, something that you're, working on that you want to happen in a good way. But using a positive outlook, obviously. But, even if it's just for 2 minutes before you get back into the house and start everything up, just stepping outside with your feet on the ground will really ground you and give you that sort of start that circadian rhythm, start giving, boost that we're looking for. It's especially helpful. It really does boost your mood. And I've found that it's made my mornings much more pleasant because I don't always wake up ready for the best day. So that's been really, really helpful, and I do recommend that. Another one is number 5 is trying to separate yourself from Wi-Fi as much as you can throughout the day. Are there times during the day where you can really just put your phone in airplane mode and say, I'm going to focus on what I'm doing. I don't want any distractions. The EMF, the electromagnetic radiation from Wi-Fi, it's a constant signal. It's a radio wave. It's a wave that signals our brain constantly. So we are physically impacted by Wi-Fi. So the more you can, put it down throughout the day, separate yourself from that, the less, anxious and stressed you might feel. Number 6 is practice mindfulness. Now, this is something we hear all the time, but what does that actually mean? It really does mean that in the moment that you are in right now, think about what you hear, what you see, what you feel. That could be emotionally inside, or it could be the physical feeling of what you're touching, the temperature, what your clothes on you, where you are, and put yourself in this moment and just say, well, what do I hear right now? What do I see right now? What colors do I see? And that is being mindful. That is saying, I am not thinking about anything else except for where I am at in this moment, how I feel, what is the temperature, what do I see? And that will sometimes help you appreciate, honestly, if you're outside and you start to see a tree, or you hear birds, or you smell something that's fresh, and whether you're inside, outside, wherever you are, it starts to help you, eliminate some of that stress and anxiety of all your thinking ahead, thinking behind, and staying right in this moment. So practicing mindfulness is especially helpful. Starting to get a little late, so let me go a little faster. Number 7 is trying to get some sun exposure throughout the day as much as you possibly can. That vitamin D and the energy from the sun is really joyful and can really help. Number 8 is sleep. Getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep at night will be especially helpful for your mental health. Some ideas are putting Wi-Fi off throughout the night. Separate yourself from that phone and that Wi-Fi. Dim the lights 3 hours before you're about to go to sleep. Finish eating 3 hours before you're about to go to sleep. You may consider using one of those meditation apps that I've mentioned, but getting that 7 to 8 hours of deep sleep is especially helpful. And number 9, we're getting there. Number 9 is to have physical contact with your family and your loved ones. So hugging people, that helps your body release a hormone called oxytocin. And oxytocin is the hormone that is responsible for joy, joyfulness. It is actually the hormone that helps your body produce breast milk when you're breastfeeding. So it's the hormone that when you feel the love of your baby, it is stimulated. So whenever you have the chance to sort of give someone a hug or, give a pat on the back from your loved ones, like those are all things that will create that really happy, joyful hormone. And then finally, number 10 is to give yourself compassion. Give yourself grace. Don't blame yourself for every negative thing that happens, or that self-talk that is constantly like criticizing you and telling you of all the wrong things that you're doing or the things that you're not doing best. That negative self-talk is so hard on ourselves. So give yourself compassion, and sometimes giving others, doing good deeds, giving compassion to others will really boost your own mood. So that was a really good list, I think. The meditation app, the breathing strategies before meals and before sleep. Try not to be distracted while you're eating. Do that morning routine of stepping outside with your feet on the ground, separating yourself from Wi-Fi as often as you can, practicing mindfulness, getting some sun exposure, getting those 7 to 8 hours of deep sleep, oxytocin, giving other people love and accepting love. And then number 10 is self-compassion and, understanding in your mind of how you're doing your best, with what you have, and, using those positive mantras in your mind, as well as doing good deeds for others. So I hope you enjoyed this list. I'm going to be focusing on mental health throughout May. So we'll be talking about foods and other things that we could be doing. But please make this an intention. You should be making this a priority as much as you would make a priority that you need to go food shopping or you need to get certain tasks done. So is treating yourself and giving yourself these times during the day to reduce anxiety and stress. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.